What is going on, gamers? Aevatrex here, and today I'm going to be showing you BG's Guild Wars run, but in this one we are going to be using a special weapon, and yes, that is going to be Triton. But before we go ahead and show off Triton in Guild Wars, we will go ahead first and do some bases that you don't necessarily need Triton at all for. So now this is F-Type's base. Now this base, or at least this kind of base, was inspired by Blind, which is an Arena Legends player, and people have either copied it or at least copied the design and kind of started messing around with it, where it's all arrow towers and they try to get you to go around the base, get 50%, and then you're messed up. Now if you're having issues with arrow towers, there is a few things that you can do to help yourself. Mainly, if your heroes aren't inscribed all the way up to 100, you might want to start doing that, because that is a huge boost to not only your attack but also the HP of your heroes. But you can also put the heroes that you mainly want to keep alive in Goblet of Life, as well as using Life Drain Crest. Another thing that you can do is try to spread the heroes out to where not all 6 towers will focus down one hero. Like for instance, you can put Warlock in one side where 3 will lock onto him, and then Ares on the other side, so that 3 more can lock onto the Ares, and that way you're not overwhelmed right away on specific heroes. You can kind of spread the damage. But that's really one of the best ways to deal with arrow towers. Troops is okay, but the problem is that with the garrisons, with these arrow towers, I believe it's the green garrison, correct me if I'm wrong. But no, the green garrison is for the actual range. The blue garrisons makes the towers focus in on heroes, so troop spamming is not really going to do much for you outside of taking on like Dread Drake procs and all that. So troops will still be helpful, but not necessarily to take away damage from those towers. Now of course, this is my usual team that I use with the BG account: the War God Warlock, the War God Ares, and then of course the 8 of 8 Bulwark Demogorgon, which pretty much is like a cheat code in Guild Wars, because it annihilates bases. And if you can get yourself a Corrode Skull Knight, then that's like doing yourself a huge favor, because even if they revive, they have a really rough shot to actually get a proc off, just because that Corrode is going to be proccing even if the Skull Knight isn't attacking. Now this was more of a standard base. A lot of stun towers, which can be good and can be bad depending on the situation. If you go full stun towers, and that means that their snipers, the attacker snipers, usually might be able to get off more attacks, but the reviving portion of it will be less predictable, because even if they revive, they might just stay in place. Whereas arrow towers, if they revive, they're going to go ahead and proc and do everything without any interruption. So a lot of times a mix of 3 magic towers and 3 arrow towers would be best, but it definitely does depend on the type of base. Like for instance, F-Type's base would not work at all if it was magic tower. So you got to keep in mind, with Loki here, he actually uses somewhat of a mix. He uses 4 arrows and 2 magic towers, which is actually not a bad combination. And it's more focused on the arrow towers and from you actually getting taken down by them. But I like the idea of actually having two magic towers there to kind of spread the not only the damage from the arrow tower, but also the unpredictability of the stuns from the magic towers. The only thing though is that even if you have all of that, even if you have full garrisons, you can't really defend Demogorgon. It's just, you really can't. Now there is a lot of people that are messing around with bases that are really strong against Demogorgon, snipers, and also like Minotaurs, and that is some sort of base that includes generally either Guardians or something along those lines, some sort of troops to absorb the procs from Minotaurs and Demogorgons, etc. And they're usually very centralized, so you can't take advantage of the troops being out and use your snipers on them. The next few bases is going to be perfect examples of bases that try to be strong against everything, but there is a special weapon that you can use on any base that has any sort of troops on them, because this is going to be very strong. Now my guild I'm showing here at the very end, We are going to be recruiting. We do need a few more spots filled, so if you're interested in joining, message me on line chat. It is line ID Aevatrex. But here we go. These were the top mites, and as you can tell right here, they have a ton of guardians there in the middle, not accessible by snipers. But here goes Triton. He goes and procs, and then take a look at all those troops. Boo. Completely goes. And on a side note, it is Halloween, so happy Halloween for all of you guys. Hopefully you went out, had a lot of fun, get a lot of candies and all of that. Now once you get those troops out of the way, then it's time to snipe. And with this here, with Demogorgon, it's super easy. Now this base, it basically uses all arrow towers, and that is very, very strong. This base is probably going to be gaining a lot of traction, because when Blind created somewhat the design, I believe it was either Blind or Ardanar. I'm not sure exactly which one, but they were basically the first ones that started using it for Guild Wars, and people started failing over and over and over on these bases. And of course, you know, Castle Clash, if something is working, you go ahead and you copy it. That's pretty much what a lot of the top guilds did, like Blood Knights, Black Skies. They started using this base. Some of them, as you can tell, they kind of started messing around with it, changing it to their own like. But there we go. Here we go, another one. It's pretty much the same base, but it's going to be the same principle here. You go ahead and you send out the Triton. He gets that proc off right now, and it doesn't matter anything else, because there goes all the little ghosts there on the inside, and then now is just completely snipeable. Doesn't matter what snipers you use. When there is no troops to worry about, you just go ahead and snipe the heroes. Now of course, sniping is not going to be that easy in this base because of the arrow tower. So if you don't have really strong heroes, like 100 inscribed heroes, very strong snipers, double evolved heroes and whatnot, you probably will not be able to get this kind of base just because of all the damage that it does up front. But here we pretty much taken off, you know, the whole thing, and now once we clear these towers, it's pretty much over. Little risky, but with this base, there's really no safe method outside of just exiting when you get to like 30% and the heroes are still alive. So keep that in mind. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about Triton. Have you ever used one in Guild Wars? And until later, bye.